Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's David, and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars Armada Imperial Fighter Squadrons 2 expansion pack, which was released in 2016. In this set we have some great looking squadrons for the Imperial faction of Armada, including 2 TIE Phantom squadrons, 2 TIE Defender squadrons, 2 Lambda-class shuttles, and 2 VT49 Devamators, which all of these little models have some great details, and I can't wait to get a close-up view. Now, just like in all my videos, I do have to stress, read the rules, get to know these different squadrons, because they can be a great resource in the game of Armada. Moving on to the paint, there is none. Imperial squadrons all have a nice dark gray, like we can see before you, and the Rebel factions have a nice light tan. So everybody at home should know how my videos go by now. We're going to take a look at the tokens, the cards, put it on a stand, check out the molds, then compare it, and we'll be done. So let's get moving. And now it's time for my favorite part in these videos, the dial token roll call. 8 defense tokens, 8 squadron ID tokens, 8 activation sliders, and finally 8 squadron disc, which are double-sided. So that does it for all the tokens. So now let's take a look at those cards. And now moving on to the 8 Squadron ID cards. Just like in all my other videos, I will read the name of the card. If you would like to pause the video and read all the stats in the paragraph below, by all means go right ahead and continue when you're done. First up, we have TIE Phantom Squadron, Whisper, the Lambda-class Shuttle, Colonel Jedon, the VT49 Devamator, Morna Key, TIE Defender Squadron. I love the artwork here, very cool. And finally, Marek Stila. So that does it for all the squadron cards. Now let's put these ships on a stand, and then we'll start going over all the unique molds. Now, when constructing the base, I've done it in several other videos so far, so we're just going to breeze right through it. Take your cardboard like so. Place it like this. Now with this piece, there is a half crescent there. You're going to want to put it in here and match it up like so. And once that goes in, you're almost done. Take this piece, which you can assemble your fighters in any configuration you would like. Then take your ship like so. Organize how you want. And just like that, everybody, you're good to go. And finally, looking at the mold of these ships, first up we have the TIE Defender, first seen in Star Wars TIE Fighter, the video game, and recently made canon again in Star Wars Rebels. Now for the size of this ship, it's under 1/2 inch in length, so it's very small, but looking at the detail, it's not bad at all. So starting off, we have our cockpit with the transparent steel viewport with all recessed windows. We have our missile launchers on the bottom. Some documents say it's laser cannons, but it could be either or. We also have some nice detailing going around the cockpit sphere, as well as our pylons, which have a little mold in there, but not much due to the size. So let's turn this baby around to show all of you all the details. As you can see, it's not much, but it has it where it counts. For the aft section, we have our rear window, reactor, and our engine should be back there, at least on the sides. It's too small to have detail, but they're there somewhere. All in all, not too bad. And on the bottom, not much, just the missile launchers there. And the peg to put it into the stand. Now for the solar array wings, we can see some nice detailing on here. I love the angles. Very nicely done, everything's there that should be. These solar array wings do not have these solar panels on them. However, everything's there for the size. Just a little too thick in my opinion, but they did what they could. Now on the tips, we have our laser cannons on this side and this side. And on the tops, we have our ion cannons. All in all, a very nicely done fighter in my opinion. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this bad boy? Let's get a top view real quick. As you can see, very nicely sculpted for the size. So that does it for this bad boy, so let's move on to the next vessel. And now for the next ship, we have the TIE Phantom, first seen in Star Wars Rebel Assault, The Hidden Empire, which is a video game, and for the size, it's under 1/2 inch in length. But just like the TIE Defender, don't let that size deter you, because this is a pretty magnificent looking ship. Nicely detailed, beautiful stuff. Now for the main points of this ship, let me get my pen ready. We have our cockpit, which is nicely molded. Underneath that, we have 2 laser cannons, which are molded pretty well. Now, in all the sources I looked at, and even the video game, the lasers come from the bottom, not the wings. So I don't really know what these are supposed to be, but they're not laser cannons. Could be ion cannons. I don't have a lot of information on this particular vessel. Now, moving on, we have a nice aft section here. We can see the beautiful molding. Looking good, turning it around. We can see the aft section looking great. Love the recess here in the molded sections, looking good. And then turning it again, we can see some beautiful detailing right here. All in all, a great looking ship. Now for the solar array wings, I think they look amazing, nicely done. All the little shapes and lines, everything's there that should be. And in my opinion, it doesn't look too bad. I like the tri-configuration. Pretty cool. Now, you might be asking yourself, Dave, how come the aft section on this ship is so big? But that's an easy question. The aft section holds a hyperdrive engine, shield generators, a cloaking device, believe it or not, and also life support. So this fighter has a lot going for it. Pretty sick. And now moving on, we have the Lambda-class shuttle, my favorite ship in the whole Star Wars universe. This baby was first seen in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and for the size, it's almost half an inch in length. So again, another smaller ship, but jam-packed full of detail. For the main parts, we have our cockpit. Looking good. We can see a little recess here for where the window should be. We have our dorsal fin, looking amazing. Look at all that detailing. Fantastic stuff. We have our main body, which is nicely detailed. We can see some nice mold in there. Pretty sick. On the sides of the main body, we have our double laser cannons on the top, which are nicely detailed. You can actually see the 2 barrels. Let me hold that steady. Pretty amazing stuff. And below that is the double blaster cannons. And again, you can see the 2 barrels there, which is great. Beautiful attention to detail. Now, beneath that, we do have our 2 stabilizer fins. Again, beautifully detailed with some paneling and raised sections. Pretty sick. That's the same for this side as well. Amazing stuff. And I have to say, the raised sections on the wing as well are amazing on the dorsal section. Fantastic stuff. The underneath doesn't really have anything going for it at all. Just flat plastic for the most part, until you get to the 2 stabilizer fins, which have some raised paneling on there. Pretty amazing stuff. Finally, we have the aft section, which is awesome. We have recessed engines, looking good. This aft section here, and right here is the double laser cannon turret. Amazing they put that in there, and there's actually 2 little barrels right there. Fantastic stuff. Another amazing addition to the collection. And now for the final ship, we have the VT49 Devamator, which was first seen in Star Wars Galaxies, the video game. And for its size, it's about 3/4 of an inch, making it not only the biggest ship in this set, but the most detailed. Just look at this thing. Beautiful detailing from the front all the way to the aft section. So let's get started on the bottom of the ship. We can see some beautiful designs here. Look at this. Recesses, raised paneling, little modules here and there. Fantastic stuff. Flipping the ship over. Let's get focused here. We can see right here we do have a little turret. 2 barrels. Pretty nice. Some beautiful design work. Coming to the aft section. Now on the aft section we do have some nice detailing as well as an engine area. Now I don't see any molding here for the engines, but there should be one here with this little piece from the molding process and above it. Besides that, pretty nicely done. To the top of the ship, look at all this beautiful detail. For the size, this is fantastic, and it really makes me want to buy the larger version for X-Wing. Great stuff. Here we have our window recessed in. Look at that beautiful stuff. Right here we have another turret. Looking good. Beautiful details going right to the wings in the front. Nice recessed line work, the raised paneling, recesses and raised sections all throughout. Great stuff. Now, based on what I've read, the command section is basically around this area here, and in the front is an observation window, which looks a little bit like the TIE Fighter, but it's not really molded too well here. But you can see the circle right here, and the recesses on the sides. So, nicely molded there. And just one more look at this. This is magnificent stuff here. Fantastic. Now, the final part I know about is right here should be a docking ring. And on this side should be a docking ring. Now, I will admit, I may not know much about this vessel's history. I never played Star Wars Galaxies, and the only thing really written about this ship is what Fantasy Flight Games wrote up for their different expansion sets that were released. So I know backstory about how the Empire used it, but I really don't have a diagram explaining what's inside of this, like a cross-section or anything, which is a shame because I do think this is a very unique vessel and a great addition to the line. So that does it for all the ships. So now let's compare these to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. And now for a quick size comparison with the Star Wars Armada Imperial Fighter Squadrons 2 expansion pack seen in the center. On the far left, we have the Hot Wheels Star Wars Slave 1. Pretty cool looking ship there. Then we have the Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures game B-Wing Starfighter from the first edition of the game. And finally, moving on to the far right-hand side, we have the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch Dr. Aphra, which is a beautiful looking figure. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars Armada Imperial Fighter Squadrons 2 expansion pack released in 2016. Now, this expansion gives you everything you need to add these specific squadrons to your Imperial faction of Armada. And just like I said in the beginning of the video, read the rules, understand the squadrons, and in my opinion, utilize them because they can be a magnificent tool in the game of Armada. Now, besides cards and tokens and bases, this set gives us 4 unique molds to add to our Imperial Navy. We're talking about the VT49 Devamator, the TIE Phantom, the Lambda-class shuttle, and of course the TIE Defender. These molds may all be under an inch in length, but they are fantastically detailed, to the point where you can see recessed windows, paneling on the sides of the ship, and even little laser cannons here and there or turrets. A fantastically molded collection of ships here in my opinion. Now, even though they are not painted, if you're a customizer and you're good with model paints or any paints in general, I really recommend taking a shot at these. I have seen some people do customizations of these fighters and they look amazing. So that's everything I have to say about this awesome pack today. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, hit that like button, and if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody!